A janitor hacked the city security system to stop a bomb in 7 minutes. When an anonymous threat flashed across every screen in City Hall, a bomb will detonate in 7 minutes. Panic erupted. The mayor was evacuated. The SWAT team scrambled, but their systems were locked out. Everyone was helpless. Everyone except for Henry, the 63-year-old night janitor everyone ignored. As the clock ticked down, he sat down at a security terminal, typed a sequence of commands he wasn't supposed to know, and said 3 words that made every agent freeze. I can help. Before we start, like this video and comment, Hero in Plain Sight. If you stand with Henry, your support helps us bring more powerful stories. Now let's begin. The silence before the scream. There's a certain kind of silence that exists only in empty buildings late at night. It's not the silence of sleep, not the silence of peace. It's the silence of absence, of power vacated, of voices stilled, of decisions deferred until morning. It's a silence of marble floors echoing with the ghost of footsteps that won't return until dawn. It's the silence of fluorescent lights humming to no one, of elevators resting, of printers unplugged, of coffee machines cold. It's a silence Henry knew better than his own heartbeat. For 20 years, 7,300 nights, he had been the only soul awake in City Hall after dark, not because he was paid to be, not because he was ordered to be, because he chose to be. He was a night janitor, the invisible man, the ghost in the machine. They called him Old Henry, the mop man, that quiet guy who empties the trash. They didn't know his full name was Henry Alden Whitaker. They didn't know he held 2 master's degrees, one in electrical engineering, one in systems architecture from MIT. They didn't know that he had designed the original digital nervous system of City Hall back in 1989, the fiber backbone, the server conduits, the terminal interfaces, before budget cuts, corporate takeovers, and modernization erased his name from every blueprint. They didn't know that when they ripped out the obsolete 1990s infrastructure to install flashy new cloud-based security systems, Henry had quietly rerouted the old hard lines, preserving them behind false walls, beneath floor panels, and side ventilation shafts, just in case the new system failed, just in case someone forgot how things really worked, just in case the world needed a janitor who remembered. And on the night the digital scream tore through the silence, a scream only he could hear, only he could understand, Henry Whitaker stopped being invisible. He became the only thing standing between the city and collapse. The man who knew the walls. Henry's world was built on order, on memory, on patterns no one else noticed. At 63, his body moved slower. Knees creaked, fingers stiffened with early arthritis. Back ached after 3 hours of mopping. But his mind was a scalpel. Sharp, precise, unforgiving. He knew City Hall better than the mayor, better than the chief of staff, better than the head of IT. He knew which floorboard squeaked outside room 307, the mayor's private office. He knew which air vent in the east wing whistled when the wind blew north, perfect for eavesdropping, if you were inclined. He knew where the original Cat 5 cables ran, beneath the marble behind the drywall, coiled like sleeping serpents in junction boxes labeled decommissioned. He knew because he'd installed them. He'd labeled them. He'd hidden them. His apartment, a 1-bedroom studio above a laundromat, was sparse. No TV, no gaming console, no smart devices, just books, old engineering manuals, schematics, a wall covered in hand-drawn maps of City Hall's hidden infrastructure. His only luxury? A 1987 IBM Model M keyboard. Heavy, clacky, indestructible. Hooked up to a Linux box he built from scrap parts. He used it to simulate network failures, to test intrusion scenarios, to keep his skills sharp. His co-workers thought he was eccentric. His boss thought he was harmless. The security guards joked he talked to the walls. They were right. He did, and the walls talked back. The night, the peace shattered. It began like any other night. 6:03 p.m., clock out time for the day staff. Henry watched them leave. Suits, briefcases, tired smiles, hurried goodbyes. He nodded politely. No one nodded back. 6:30 p.m., he started on the 3rd floor. dusting desks, emptying trash, wiping fingerprints off doorknobs. The scent of lemon disinfectant filled the air. 8 p.m. dinner break. Peanut butter sandwich. Black coffee. Read a chapter of The Cuckoo's Egg. His favorite book about a janitor-level systems admin who caught a KGB hacker in the 1980s. 9:45 p.m. He was in the server room, not to clean, but to listen. He pressed his ear against a main rack. Listened to the fans, the drives, the subtle hum of data flowing through copper and fiber. Everything sounded normal, until it didn't. At 9:47 p.m., every screen in the building flashed blood red. Every speaker, even the ones in the bathrooms, blared a digital siren. The message pulsed like a heartbeat. System breach. Detonation in 7 o'clock. Evacuate. Henry froze. Not from fear, from recognition. That siren? It wasn't a bomb alert. It was a logic bomb signature, a malware payload designed to mimic physical destruction by triggering cascading system failures. He'd seen prototypes in '94. Classified, never deployed. Until now, panic erupted. Security guards burst from their posts, radios crackling. Staff who'd stayed late screamed, scrambling for exits. Chief Reynolds, a barrel-chested man with a buzz cut and a permanent scowl, sprinted into the main lobby, barking orders. Evacuate. Now, this is not a drill. Henry approached him, calm, voice steady. Sir, the main grid is compromised, but the original hard line from the 90s, it's on a separate physical loop. I can access it from the maintenance. Reynolds shoved him back, so hard Henry stumbled. Get out, old man. This is a bomb threat. Your mop isn't going to help. Henry didn't argue. He just turned and walked away, not toward the exit, toward the basement. The key that unlocked the past. Henry's keyring held 47 keys. Most open supply closets, janitorial sinks, storage rooms. One brass, worn smooth by decades of use. Open a door no one else remembered. Behind a stack of moldy filing cabinets in sub-basement B, behind a faded sign that read maintenance, HVAC, authorized personnel only, was a steel door. Henry unlocked it. Inside wasn't a furnace. It was a time capsule, a 1991 DEC VD520 terminal. Green phosphor screen glowing softly in the dark. A direct, physical, unbroken hard line to City Hall's original core infrastructure. Untouched, unmonitored, unhackable, because no one knew it existed. Henry sat down, his fingers stiff, arthritic. Found keys. They remembered. The keyboard clacked like gunfire in the silence. He logged in, root at City Hall Legacy. The system welcomed him like an old friend. Welcome back, H.A.W. He smiled faintly. He'd programmed that. He pulled up the intrusion logs. The malware was elegant, brutal. It had entered through a phishing email, opened by an intern in the mayor's office at 4:33 p.m., disguised as a budget approval form. From there, it spread laterally, exploiting zero-day vulnerabilities in the upgraded security system, which was full of unpatched holes. It wasn't trying to steal data. It was trying to erase it, to trigger a digital detonation, corrupting financial records, erasing criminal databases, wiping emergency response protocols, disabling traffic grids, shutting down water treatment controls. At midnight, the city would go blind. And in the chaos, who knew what would happen? Henry checked the clock. 04:17 remaining. He typed faster. The ghost in the machine. The security team was making it worse. Henry watched their attempts on the legacy terminal's mirrored feed. They were rebooting servers, triggering backup failsafes that accelerated the malware. They were pulling plugs, isolating systems that were already clean, while the infected ones kept spreading. They were treating it like a physical threat. It wasn't. It was a ghost. A logic bomb didn't need wires or timers. It needed ignorance. And City Hall was drowning in it. Henry traced the malware's root signature. It was military grade, possibly foreign, possibly domestic. He didn't care. He cared about stopping it. He wrote a script, 37 lines of Perl, to isolate the payload. Too slow. He tried a kernel level purge, blocked by the new system security protocols. He cursed, 02:49 remaining. Then he saw it. The original system had a failsafe, not software, hardware, a manual override switch, installed in 1990 after a near-catastrophic crash, designed to physically sever all digital connections in case of total system compromise. It was labeled Sector 7G, a joke among the old engineers. Sent it to 7G, where broken dreams go to die. Henry knew where it was, beneath sub-basement C, behind a false wall, next to the old boiler. He stood, ran. The switch that saved the city. The sub-basement was flooded. A pipe had burst weeks ago. Maintenance hadn't fixed it. Low priority. Henry sloshed through ankle-deep water, flashlight beam cutting through steam. He found the false wall, a sheet of drywall painted to match the concrete. He tore it down with his bare hands. Behind it, a rusted metal panel. He wrenched it open. Inside, a single massive red switch. Label, Emergency Hard Disconnect. City Hall Core Network. No key required. Just strength and will. He grabbed it, pulled. Nothing. Rusted shut. 01:03 remaining. He braced his foot against the wall. Pulled again. Muscles screaming. Knees buckling. Come on. With a shriek of metal, the switch moved. Then silence. Total. Absolute. Every light in the building died. Every screen went black. Every speaker fell mute. For one heart-stopping second, Henry thought he'd failed. Then, the emergency lights flickered on. Soft, yellow, humming. The digital countdown? Gone. The sirens? Silent. The red message? Vanished. City Hall was dark, but it was alive. Henry sank to his knees in the filthy water, breathing hard, smiling. The man who labeled it. They found him there. Chief Reynolds first. Flashlight beam blinding Henry. Then security guards. Then the mayor's chief of staff. Then IT. They stared at the switch, at the water, at the old man in a janitor's uniform, soaked, exhausted, smiling. Reynolds' voice was a whisper. How did you know? Henry looked up, looked at the switch, looked at the label he'd written himself 34 years ago in neat block letters. Sector 7G, hard disconnect. HAW 10/12/90. He smiled faintly. I labeled it. The woman at the door. The next morning, City Hall was chaos. Reporters swarmed. Politicians blamed IT. IT blamed unforeseen vulnerabilities. The mayor gave a press conference. A minor system glitch. No data lost. No danger to the public. Henry watched it on a lobby TV while emptying trash cans. No one mentioned him. No one even looked at him. At 11:30 a.m., a woman appeared by his supply closet. Late 40s. Sharp suit. No-nonsense haircut. Eyes that missed nothing. She didn't introduce herself. Didn't flash a badge. Just handed him a card. Dr. Alara Voss, Director, National Cybersecurity Initiative, Critical Infrastructure Division. You're Henry Whitaker, she said. Not a question. He nodded. You saved the city last night. He shrugged. I flipped a switch. You preserved a system no one else knew existed. You understood a threat no one else recognized. You acted when everyone else panicked. She stepped closer. We need you. He laughed. I'm a janitor. You're the only person alive who remembers how these systems really work. Before the cloud, before the dashboards, before the consultants. She handed him a key card. Not plastic. Titanium. Clearance. Omega. Name. H.A. Whitaker. Title. Senior Infrastructure Architect. You'll work 3 days a week at our DC facility, reviewing power grids, water systems, transportation networks, finding the hidden backdoors, the forgotten switches, the weak points. She paused. The other 4 days, you can keep mopping floors. If you want. Henry looked at the card, looked at his mop, looked at the city outside the window. He took the card. Can I keep the IBM keyboard? Dr. Voss smiled for the first time, already on your new desk. The janitor who still mops. Henry's new office has a window. It overlooks the Potomac. His desk is oak. His chair is ergonomic. His monitors? 3 4K screens displaying live feeds from power plants, subway control rooms, dam sensors. His title? Senior Infrastructure Architect. His salary? 6 figures. His clearance? Higher than the Secretary of Defense. But every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, he's back at City Hall, in his janitor's uniform, mopping the same floors, emptying the same trash, nodding politely to the same people who don't nod back. Chief Reynolds avoids him. The IT staff whispers when he walks by. The mayor's assistant once asked, "Why do you still do this?" Henry just smiled. Someone's out to keep the floors clean. The truth? He likes the silence. He likes the routine. He likes knowing that while the world sleeps, he's awake, watching, listening, remembering. He knows the new systems are faster, sleeker, more intelligent, but they're also fragile, full of holes, built by people who've never seen a server rack, never traced a cable, never felt the hum of a machine that's kept a city alive for decades. Henry knows that the most important systems aren't made of code. They're made of memory, of experience, of quiet, stubborn, unglamorous knowledge. And sometimes, that memory wears worn-out shoes, pushes a mop, and saves the world before breakfast. The lesson in the dust. One afternoon, a young intern, bright-eyed, fresh out of Stanford, cornered Henry in the server room. "Mr. Whitaker, I heard you stopped the hack. How'd you do it?" Henry didn't look up from his mop. "Know your building." The intern frowned, but the malware was digital. The systems were cloud-based. How could knowing the building help? Henry stopped mopping, looked at him, because the cloud lives in servers. Servers live in racks. Racks live in rooms. Rooms live in buildings. And buildings, he tapped the wall. They're made of concrete, steel, and wires. Wires I installed. Rooms I mapped. Systems I designed. He leaned closer. The fanciest AI in the world can't save you if it doesn't know where the off switch is. The intern blinked. Henry smiled. "Now, if you'll excuse me, this floor won't mop itself." The man behind the walls. Henry Whitaker doesn't give interviews, doesn't write memoirs, doesn't attend cybersecurity conferences. He shows up at 6 p.m., clocks in, mops floors, listens to walls, and every now and then, when a new, upgraded system starts acting strange, when a server hums a little too loud, when a screen flickers in a way it shouldn't, someone, somewhere whispers, "Asterisk, get Henry." Asterisk, and Henry comes, not with a laptop, not with a debugger, with a flashlight, a screwdriver, and a keyring that holds the secrets of the city. He doesn't need glory. He doesn't need thanks. He just needs to know that when the world forgets how things work, there's still someone who remembers. Someone who knows where the switches are. Someone who's not afraid to get his hands dirty. Someone who understands that the most powerful force in any system isn't the code, isn't the hardware, isn't the AI. It's the janitor, the quiet guardian, the last line of defense, the man who mops the floors and saves the world. If you believe the quiet heroes are the ones who truly hold society together, like this video, subscribe to Digital Detective and share this story. Comment below, who's the Henry in your life? The person no one notices, but everything falls apart without?